Hello, everyone. So, all of us have some sort of chaos going on in our life, and it might be pretty intense for a lot of us. Chaos. What does this mean? It means maybe you're confused about what sort of career you want to get into, or maybe you want to be around a high vibration friend group of people that are really helpful, but you're around just sort of a toxic social circle. So there's chaos in all sorts of ways in our life. Maybe it's shame. Maybe we just are feeling a lot of shame. So this is actually very interesting because chaos actually happens when we're taking in more energy than we can actually handle. So it's like pouring a bunch of water into a cup that is not big enough. There's an overflow, and then that overflow is the chaos. But whatever your container can hold, then there is harmony. There's peace, there's momentum, there's the qualities of the light because you can contain that light, that water, that energy. So a lot of us kind of fall into this illusion that we don't have the energy and we need to go find the energy, but the energy is everywhere. What we need to do is not try to change the water. We need to expand the size of our cup so that we can hold more of it. And when we're doing more that we can actually handle, then we're trying to take in more energy that we're not ready for. So, for example, a musician, if they want to play a certain passage and it's a hard passage and it goes fast and it's like very technically challenging, what they do is, if they were to play it right away before they ever looked at the piece, it would sound horrible. It would be void of harmony. It would be it would be chaotic. Their hand wouldn't move the right way. It would just sound horrible. That's chaos because it's an overflow given what their current capacity is. So they need to expand their capacity to hold the abilities, the skills, and once they embody that capacity, they've literally expanded themselves to be the person who can play that passage. But right now, they've never seen the piece before. They can't play the difficult passage yet. So what do we do? What happens? How do we become, if we're here and the person who can do it is up here, how do we fix this gap? How do we get up there? How do we become the person that can hold the abundance, that can hold the abilities, that can hold those qualities that we want to embody, that can hold the energy that we want? Energy comes in many forms, by the way. So when I say that we want to expand ourselves to contain the energy, that can look like spiritual abundance. It can look like good relationships or good circumstances or more money. It's all energy. Everything is energy. So what this person does, if we want to go from here to here, um, we would want to isolate and go to where we are. So the notes, maybe instead of playing it at tempo, what we would do is the musician would go at like 5% tempo, then 10%. So they're playing it very slowly, they're isolating, and they can play it naturally, smoothly, because they're playing it at a tempo that is like their max capacity. And then as they nail that, okay, now that you've got that capacity, you've reached that container, now you can enter like 5% more and then you can go. So it's like instead of trying to lift a 100-pound weight right away, you go like 15 pounds, then 25 pounds, then 30 pounds. So um, this is in other words, we're minimizing, we're isolating. What we're not doing is saying, okay, I can't play this at tempo, so let me go faster. I'm not, this is what a lot of us do. It's like, I can't lift a 100-pound weight. What's wrong with me? I got to lift 115 pounds. Somebody find me a 200-pound weight. People are trying to become like spiritual masters or like billionaires when they haven't stepped a little bit up from where they are. So, okay, this is kind of abstract. So let's get an example going. Um, think about how somebody who disperses their energy in a lot of directions can't really accomplish anything. But somebody who narrows down, this is what I'm saying, is that we want to narrow it down and simplify it because you see this arrow at the top. instead of the energy, it's the same amount of energy in the vessel, but instead of going outward into all these different shiny objects, it's getting narrowed down into one thing. So what I'm how do we do this? Okay. Let's look at our life. Maybe there's like a bunch of things that we're interested in. If we can narrow all of these things, maybe somebody mentions skiing and says, "Hey, you got to get into skiing." Or like, "Oh, you got to try out this new diet." Or you got to try out this hobby or this business idea or get this job or go to this college. Okay. These are all shiny objects where our energy could go into all of these things. This is just adding in, this is like trying to play a higher tempo than you're already at. How can you minimize and isolate? How can you lift like the exactly where you're at, that amount of weight? If we can dial in to like just one part of our life that is like most important. Some people can do like 3 things, but especially in like our day-to-day life, if we can just focus on like one thing, then this is very powerful because it's like an archer who's aiming at a target. If they're looking at a bunch of targets, they can't, how are they ever going to hit a bullseye? How are they ever going to have a direct aim? So if you're someone who has like a lot of friends or a lot of kind of business ideas and under the impression that this is cool, or under the impression or the limiting belief that you're actually accomplishing more than others, that's really a limiting belief because you're dispersing your energy. And the more you can narrow down your energy, then you enter flow. And paradoxically, you actually enter flow, which means that you're actually at the vibration where more can actually come in. And the illusion is to think that by doing more, you can have more come in, but that's completely false. When you narrow down, so maybe you want to start a business, maybe you want to get a job, or maybe you're really into a particular hobby. Do all your other daily responsibilities. You take care of your if you're with your family, take care of your family. If you're with a partner, take care of your partner. Eat well and all of this. But in terms of like your work, dial it in. Like focus on just what one project is and go that one project at a time. And the funny thing is that when you do this, there's going to be all these extra shiny objects that enter the picture, because there's going to be all sorts of tests that say, "Hey, are you sure you want to dial in on this one thing? Look how pretty it would be to get into crypto or social media ads." What are you doing? Do you want to, maybe there's a product you want to sell. Maybe there are YouTube videos you want to make. The more you can narrow it down, the more you can simplify, the more you can direct your energy into a completely powerful line that otherwise would just be dispersed. So don't try to do more, do less. And the surest way to lift heavier and heavier weights is to lift whatever weight you're on as best you possibly can. And then the next weight will reveal itself. All you have to do is focus on what are you at now and how can you narrow it down into the most like direct, simple, basic, literally, how minimal can you make your life? Maybe you're doing this one thing. Maybe you're interested in selling a product. Well, within that realm, there's going to be all sorts of other shiny products. Objects. Like maybe you're going to feel tempted to sell this product or that product or make blogs or website. No, one thing. Just focus on one thing. It doesn't matter what you focus on, as long as you are just focused on that one thing. It is better to master one kick than to master 1,000. So just choose one thing. And some people like to do 3 main things is a lot. Like that's rare. Like for me, I've found focusing on 1 to 2 things is like when you really start to direct your energy into 1 to 2 things in your life that are like most important. It's actually amazing that it starts to seem like, oh, you must be bored, but actually the opposite starts to happen because you're inviting in opportunities because you're at the vibration. So I hope that this is helpful. Yeah, if you guys want to talk about anything, let me know. Peace out.